Do you guys ever do audits, financial audits?
Yes, every year at the annual meeting, an audit packet is
Is there a way you
presented.
could give it to all the members so we could see it?
Yeah, you could request it. Yes, it's
While we're
available.
requesting it now, can you send it to us? Or can we pick it up?
You can absolutely pick it up. We can have copies available in the office. It's always been available.
We won't make copies available, we will put it on email. I'm not gonna go to the point of making copies for everybody.
You want to
We
give
will-
my email
We
address?
will put it on our website and in the concierge when we get that up, so it'll be available.
Yeah.
We're not gonna start making copies for.
I have a friend who was not able to be here tonight. She wanted me to ask 2 specific things. She says there's nowhere to eat. We need to have food trucks for the Eclipse. And can we have higher class porta potties than the blue porta potties? Because there are some that are, that's what she wanted.
A few years ago, a few of us were at a park. I said a few years ago, I was with a couple others, we ran Fort Clark Days. We took care of the marketing, we took care of the shirts, we took care of the pins, we took care of getting sponsors, we took care of a whole gamut of things. I don't see why we have to hire somebody when we have the resources here of knowledgeable people who are talented and certainly capable. Why do we have to put out money initially when some of us are willing to volunteer to do that?
Fair enough.
I want to address a question
I
to
would like
Mr.
to
Peterson.
suggest that we take this to the upper level, and instead of opening ourselves up to 1,000 people that we have no idea and letting them trash the fort, that we make it extremely quiet and exclusive, charge as much as the traffic will bear,
Yep.
and limit the number of people who can come here. Make them, if you think it's necessary, put up a security deposit against any damage they might do if they get out of hand,
That's a great idea.
and limit it. Let's keep this sport an exclusive place and let people come in who will respect the sport and, come here to see the eclipse and not to have a party.
Fair enough.
That would be the track I think we should take. And I don't think we need to pay $100,000 to anybody to give us that.
Thank you.
Mr. Peterson,
Yes, sir.
if you were given an extra just $25,000, a quarter of what we're talking about here, what could you do with your maintenance people in order to clean up the fort that needs to be cleaned up, possibly create a few camping spaces, maybe extend the RV park if we want to do that, which might not be a bad idea.
I could cut a couple of mesquite trees for $25,000. That's not gonna get
It's only 200.
135 we can do a lot.
That's right.
2 of them, yeah, 400.
Yeah,
135
it's
we
a
can do
matter
it.
of,
One other thing that I was just sitting here thinking about on security, if you charge these people for 5 days at the motel for $2,500, and we have an overcast sky or a rainstorm on that particular day, you're gonna have a bunch of pissed off people. I hope they don't tear the place apart.
Yeah, the people that are, the eco-tourists that are coming for something like that, for an event like that, they fully understand, and they're made well aware that, nature is nature, and if it's not here,
Yeah,
I mean, it's gonna be here.
I hope they
don't know
do.
if you're gonna see it.
I hope they do.
That's why you make it expensive.
Yes, sir. Carl?
No, I'm just stretching my back.
Yes, sir.
So what I'm hearing pretty much from the general consensus is nobody's interested in this $100,000 event coordinator.
I heard the same thing.
Amen.
Yeah. I don't know that that's necessarily true.
Okay.
Just because we're quiet
With
doesn't
Maryland, I
mean
don't
that
think we need any event planner.
Well, just out of curiosity, how about a show of hands of somebody that's in favor of spending $130,000 to put on this dog and pony show?
Against it?
Who wants it?
Against it or
Who
for it?
don't want it?
For it.
Who wants it?
Who's against it? Who's against it? That's too easy.
Okay.
Against it.
Who's against, that answer your question?
He said consensus. You're against it.
Before we have anyone
I would like to thank the fort and the board for putting out the survey. It was wide, it was concisive, and it did a good job of expressing what you guys want. The only thing I thought shouldn't have been on the survey was the question about mud. Mud's a municipality, and the board and the membership has nothing to do with the municipality. But I thought it was a great survey, and I appreciate you guys doing that.
Thank you.
Time estimate, so it's no more than an hour and a half to fill it out.
Do you have any other questions, or?
I do.
Oh, yes, sir.
Alright, I'm gonna paint your house. Alright, he's gonna paint your house, he's gonna paint your house, or we're all painters. Why aren't you taking this to other people and saying, there's promoters everywhere, and promoters get 99% of what profits made, okay? Nine times out of 10, between 75 and 100%. And there's a lot of promoters out there. And by the way, there's a lot of people who have Johnny on the spots all over. I drive a truck, I see them everywhere. But what I'm saying is have people come out or promote this to other promoters and say, look, how much can you do it for? I mean, $100,000 is a lot of money. Okay, you got a minute too?
Yes, sir.
I mean, I make that a year, and I'm telling you, I gotta earn every penny of it. But I'm telling you, there's a lot of people who do it a whole lot cheaper, you know? So that's just my suggestion is, hey, you know, get some other, I mean, I know there's a lot of work involved, but there's also a lot of money involved. A lot of people's concerns involved.
Yes, sir.
Well, it's 130,000.
Understood. Thank
So
you.
that's my only concern.
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
So even if you don't hire the event coordinator, we're still gonna, the hotel, right? We're still gonna make buku money.
We're still gonna have a financial success, yes.
And charge for coming in the gate for people that are not booked at the hotel or the RV?
I don't think we,
No?
I don't think we wanna have additional people beyond the commercial spaces that we
Okay,
have.
so
Yeah.
just the capacity,
Yes,
okay.
which I estimate again to be right at 850, which would be,
Okay, again, then I think security should be our main priority.
absolutely, absolutely.
And where are we gonna find extra security that's not just Joe Blow coming across the border? I can have a gun.
Well, and that's a good point that we now, you know, after working through this and talking with the membership and understanding what it is that, you know, is actually of interest, we can start to look for that security because we know what the numbers are, so we know what we'll need. You know, how do we keep people out of the neighborhoods? How do we keep people in the areas that we want them to be in?
Off the back gate.
Yeah, where we can actually, you know, be able to keep those people. I love the idea of a security deposit. If you're gonna be here, it's a historic fort. You know, there's 30 structures that are historic, and that's one of the largest, you know, amount of structures that are intact from one facility, really across the country. So, yes, I think that all that's possible and that's very doable. And what we are hoping to do and what we will do is now that we are kind of in the process of we understand what we want to do, we'll continue to give updates of where we're at. Have we found, you know, any additional porta potties? Do we need additional porta potties? How many do we need? Can we find them? Did we find security? Because we may have to make the hard decision at the end of the day that if we can't find security, then we're gonna have to say, well, we can't do this. We can't even have the commercial areas open. So, you know, those are the tough decisions that will have to be made at an operational level as we get closer to the event and do the research.
Have you looked at security companies to hire instead of just Joe Blow?
So we would push that to Alan to say, hey, can you go out, get us some bids for contracts, here's the time frame, and then we'll go from there.
We used to do a lot of event planning in San Antonio, and what we would hire for security is actual sheriffs and police department that are off duty. They want to make the extra money from their time off. So we could start by contacting the small towns and see what sheriffs or police officers would be available if they would want to work for overtime.
That's a great idea. Yeah. Yes, sir.
This is different subjects, but where did our logos go?
So the logos, so we're undergoing a renovation out here, and those logos are in the office there, and those walls will be power washed and painted, so that we can get that, the original look back to it.
Okay.
What happened to the sign up front where it said your sins are washed away?
Yeah, there you go.
I'm just curious.
It was blown over in those 2 times we had the windstorms, so that'll be erected, as soon as we can.
About ready to go back up.
Okay, I was just curious.
At what point will we be notified that the board is going to make a decision on whether to spend this outrageous amount of money on an event planner or not? In other words, you've said you're looking for feedback. We've given you a lot of feedback this evening. But when should we expect to find out what you're going to do about it?
We'll have this on the agenda at the next meeting, and we'll talk more fully about what we're going to do at that point. Because I think that there's a lot of things, a lot of resources that we need to gather. And basically, we're kind of in a time frame where it's all hands on deck as far as like the operations of the fort. Now, as much as we try and stay out of Mr. Peterson's way and only deal with the things that are in our contract, or which would be a contract, the things that we're responsible for. That's why this process was a little different, but we're all doing a good job at this point of keeping each other accountable of not doing those things, and so we'll ask Mr. Peterson to put together a plan and keep the membership, and as well as the membership and the board informed.
But it's still your guys' decision, not ours, correct, at the end of the day?
Signing the contract, yes.
But
Deciding yes on the
we hear you. I mean, that's how the board works. I mean, that's like a representative government, right? I mean, we hear you and we do what we have to. Yeah. I mean, yes, that's the process.
I do think that money would be well spent to hire a part-time or full-time marketing person that is here all the time to get a really good marketing plan going and ongoing and keep going. And certainly some of that $135,000 could be spent for somebody here. I mean, there have been a couple people have shown up, lately who I think are probably very capable of doing that. And that might be a really good place to start because it's going to be about marketing. But I don't think that hiring somebody to coordinate things and put together, a marketing plan for us that we then have to go out and do. I don't think that that's the way to go. I think somebody in-house.
You can't get security, we can't do it.
Yeah. Oh, and that's what we said. If we get to the point where we can't get security and it's not a thing, and we gotta make the choice to pull the plug. And those are the tough decisions that no one wants to make. But I mean, if that's where we're at. That's where we're at.
The $135,000 could be better spent getting the port ready for the event. If we would spend that much.
Yeah. Give me that.
And 9 payments, 9 payments.
Our law enforcement is being stretched to the limit.
Yeah, no, and that
With the border issue,
right.
and then the shooting that happened in Uvalde, a lot of those guys are being let go. Where are you gonna find these people?
Yeah.
I mean, have to market. It's fixing to get worse.
Yes, it is.
Real fast.
Yes.
1 second, sir. She had a question, and I'll come right back to you. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. How much money do we actually have to spend initially to underwrite this thing?
So that's what I was explaining earlier, is that any of this that's done would be underwritten with the funds that are brought in, that are instantly paid by the motel, RV, and
The money's not in the bank.
Okay, we don't have any money at the moment.
No,
not for this, not
Not for this.
operationally, no,
there's no money in the bank for it right now, at this moment.
correct.
That's where the problem is.
Well, that's a pure problem. That's like building a barn and having no horses.
Again, this ship is already sailing.
No, sir.
And we're just here tonight for
No, sir.
feel good.
Nope, this conversation was to hear what the membership wants and to understand how we're going to move forward. I would say that statement is 100% incorrect. The ship has not sailed.
I hope you're.
I sure hope
telling
not.
me a straight story on that.
Can you explain, real quick, can you explain if it went through, and then we decided to pull back, what would that be, what would be the cost again?
So I talked a little bit about this earlier, but I think it's kind of a moot point. But the contract did have places where it could be canceled and that there would be no further expense. And again, most of that would have been funded prior to the first bill even being due. But I mean, even with that fail-safe, I mean, I think we've heard what we need to hear, so.
I'd just like to say that I appreciate all of you coming out and taking the time to let us know how you feel and what you think, because this is all our community. And you've been heard, and I appreciate it.
Any other questions? Comments?
Thank you for listening.
Yes.
All right, thank y'all.